Hey, how's it going, guys? Just wanted to give you guys a quick comparison review. A lot of you really enjoyed me talking about this one right here. You've seen it before, the Hobbit WETA One Ring. It is no longer in production. You have to do a little hunting for this one. Uh, and what I mentioned but did not have at the time in that review is the Lord of the Rings version that is still in production. So I'm going to be talking about both versions of the ring today. So why don't we pop these open, give you a look. So here's the Hobbit edition. As I said in the last review, I wish there was a little more of this felt right down here. I wish it was more evenly distributed along the little foam padding. But again, the ring is the star, so we're not going to be worrying about that too much. And here is the Lord of the Rings version. The angle is different. The presentation is much nicer on this one, I think. And of course, you have the one ring with the inscriptions right here. Just ignore the dogs barking in the background. Oh, they're going crazy about something. So as I said before, both of these rings are accurate to the films they were in. This version of the One Ring here was used in the Hobbit movies, mainly An Unexpected Journey, as it says on the front there of the case. So this is accurate to the Hobbit movies, and possibly Lord of the Rings as well. This one here is not actually 100% accurate to my knowledge, as it is not a size 11 ring. I was not able to get my hands on one of those. This is a size 12, but size up is not a big difference, and multiple sizes were used during filming. It's just that size 11 was the one that was used most often. Both rings are very similar in a lot of ways. I'll bring it down, but at the same time, they're very different as well. Come on, focus. So you can see right here that in terms of size, they are slightly different. They're about the same height. However, you'll notice that the Lord of the Rings version has a bit more of a rounded curve to it. It is also slightly thinner than the Hobbit version, which I really like about the Hobbit version. It is a thicker ring, which is how I kind of always pictured it when I read the books. Is they mention that it's a plain ring, but it has some heft to it when it's held, and this one definitely does. They are both made of tungsten. The gold is kind of worn off a little bit on this one, but it still looks very nice. Whereas this one's still very pristine. Again, both are tungsten with gold plating. This one has the inscription around it. The Hobbit version does not. On the inside, again, the bane of my existence when it comes to these rings is the copyright information. At the WETA, Jens Hansen. So not only now do we not get the full pristine ring because of the copyright information, and again, I get why they have to do this, but we also cut off a significant portion of the inscription from the One Ring. Like I said, I know why they have to do this, so people don't, copy the design of the ring and try to sell it as their own, but I think there was probably some other way they could do this that you didn't have to inscribe it on the ring. Top-down view, again, you can see the difference in the thickness, and maybe it's just because this one is a size up. Maybe they had to expand it a little bit. I do really like both of these rings. They both have very nice cases. I love the red for the Hobbit and the blue for Lord of the Rings. Both very kind of regal looking cases to hold these. As I stated in the last video, the Hobbit version is no longer in production, sadly. So if you want to get your hands on one, you will have to do some hunting. Of course, you can always find other licensed One Rings. There's even a Hobbit version made by Noble Collection that does not have the inscriptions, though the sizing is a tad different. And something I really do love about this ring that I didn't mention in the last video is when it sits in the case, it just looks very nice. There's a real soft look to it. Like, you can see why Bilbo and Frodo couldn't keep their hands off this thing. It's so precious. Okay, sorry, that was creepy. Whereas this one also has a very soft look to it when it's in the case. However, there's something about this one that just, when displayed, doesn't look as pretty. I think it's because of the angle it sits at when it's in its case. When this one you're looking straight on, you're just kind of seeing half the ring from more of a top-down angle. It really looks best from a side view. With the Hobbit version, you're looking straight on at the One Ring, and it's very nicely displayed no matter which angle you look at it from. I guess aside from this one, but we're not talking about that right now. Both cases, again, very similar. This one says WETA Workshop. Something to be on the lookout for is there are some knockoff versions of this ring, and who knows, for all I know, maybe I do have a knockoff one. All I know is if it is a knockoff, it's a very good knockoff. It is very nice, but where the the packaging is not accurate, and you know it was sold by someone other than WETA. But if you buy directly from WETA, you don't have to worry about that. Something else I like about the Lord of the Rings case is it does have the inscription here around the case as well. It also has the little magnet clasp, same as the Hobbit version. It's the information on the bottom. The case itself for Lord of the Rings is actually just a hair larger than the Hobbit version. But part of me still really prefers the Hobbit version. It's very clean, but I love the color of the case, of the wood. Whereas this one has more of the grain showing, so when you're not looking directly in the light, it's kind of hard to see the Lord of the Rings logo. Whereas this one, no matter how you look at it, you can see The Hobbit, An Unexpected Journey. This may be one area where The Hobbit actually beats out The Lord of the Rings. I know a lot of people don't like the movies, I do, but The Hobbit wins, I think, in this comparison. Of course, that's just my taste. I like having the ring as you see it in the films when it's not being lit by the fire and you don't see the inscriptions, because the ring itself is, even without the inscription, a very recognizable ring just by its shape. But again, I do really love both of these rings. They are very, very wonderful collector's items. If you are more of a fan of Lord of the Rings and you want the ring to be instantly recognizable, like you see it with the inscription, like that inscription is not going to be seen as any other way as, oh, that's a Lord of the Rings product. So if you are into collecting items specifically to show off your Lord of the Rings collection and you want a good centerpiece, I do recommend the Lord of the Rings version. If you can manage to get your hands on it, like I said, you're gonna have to do some hunting. You might have to ask around some collector groups, As I said, I got this from someone who actually worked at the WETA cave in New Zealand, with the exact size I was looking for, size 11, so lucky me. I mean, I managed to get it for the same price as it normally retailed for. You will, like I said, you will have to do some hunting for it, but if you can find it, and if you have the money on hand to get it, I definitely say this is a very, very good item to spring for. So there you go, guys. Get one last look at both of these from the top down. These are both wonderful products. I definitely recommend either one of them.